Hey guys, welcome to another episode of All American Cooking. I'm your host, Michael Allen. Happy New Year. We've got, well, it's not a new kitchen, but I've got new lighting, I've got new audio, and we've got a whole bunch of new recipes. Sorry that I haven't posted in a while. It's been crazy over the holidays, but 2023 is going to be an awesome year for this channel. I want to thank the 290 of you that are currently subscribed. Make sure you're sharing these videos. I want other people to subscribe. It costs you nothing, but it helps me tremendously. Today, we are doing asparagus risotto. Risotto is a traditional Italian rice dish. A lot of people are scared of it because they see people on Chopped or they see people on these cooking shows where they wind up messing it up. And why? Because they're trying to get it done in a half an hour. Not going to happen.
I'm a fast cook, I guess.
Not going to happen. There's no way. I don't care how good your knife skills are. Most of the work is done on the stove. We're just adding a very simple, delicious vegetable, some little asparagus discs to this one. You can add peas, you can add mushrooms and lemon, you can add fresh herbs, you can add whatever you want to risotto, but follow these steps to make the most amazing risotto ever, and I guarantee you won't get chopped. Let's get into this. All right, so we're gonna begin this with a shallot. A shallot is very much like an onion. It's just a much better quality onion, very similar to a red onion. Got a little bit of sweetness, got some very nice flavor going on. Risotto is a rice dish, an Italian rice dish. It's not like normal rice. It's got a nice creamy texture. It's got very rich flavor. The creamy texture comes from the method of cooking as well as adding the butter and the Parmesan cheese. But we'll see all that in a minute. For now, all we're going to do is we're going to dice up this shallot. You've seen us dice up onions before, but this is a little different. All right, so once you've got your shallot, your shallot, you know, if you want to go with a shallot, you do you. This is just a template recipe. I would stick with the shallot, though. You don't want to use the shallot. That's a lot harder to chop. Pieces flying all over. It's all good. So in the meantime, I've got a pan that's heating up on medium heat. And I got this as a Christmas gift from my buddy Tony. You've all seen Tony on a Buffalo Wings video. He got me this organic garlic-infused olive oil. Oh, it's so good. I mean, I just cracked this open and I just smell it. Here, can you smell it? Can you smell it? Can you smell it? Smell that? Oh, you can't smell it. Holy monkey, that is garlic galore. So I'm going to hit my pan with about a tablespoon of that, and you'll see that in a second, because primarily most of this is going to be over the cooktop. And then I'm also going to hit that with about a tablespoon of unsalted butter. And while that is melting, we're going to chop up our asparagus. So let me get these shallots off to the side, like so. And then we got a couple of asparagus spears. And we don't want the woody ends on these things. Normally the rule of thumb is as soon as you can snap it, that's where it should be trimmed. But we're going to go ahead and just chop off that bottom part there. And then we don't want, unfortunately, we don't want these leafy greens on top, which is usually the best part, especially for grilled asparagus. But I'll set those aside and I'll eat those later. Basically, we're just going to chop these things into small discs. So let me start with these three here, and we're just going to slice them into small discs. All right, so you see here I've got my butter and my oil. The oil is there for the lubricant and the garlic flavor. The butter also there for flavor. Typically, the oil is there to prevent the butter from burning. So we're going to add our shallots in here. All right, so shallots are in. We'll hold on to that asparagus for later. And now we're just going to cook these guys down for about, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes over medium heat till they become kind of translucent. Giving them a gentle stir every so often. Now, we are going to use arborio rice. This is very important to only use arborio rice. And normally when you're making rice, you want to rinse it off under cold water till the water runs clear, get the starch off. But risotto, we do not want to do that. We are just going to add the rice as is. All right, so after about 2, maybe 3 minutes, you see your shallots are starting to get slightly translucent, looking lovely. We're not trying to caramelize these guys or nothing like that. Just getting them cooked down a little bit. Get off of my utensil shallots. So now we are going to come in with the rice. We've got 1 cup of arborio rice, and we're just going to dump her right on in there. I know what you're thinking. Come on, man, you ain't going to cook that rice? What the hell? No, we just want to toast it a little bit. We want to get some of that garlic oil and that butter and coat this rice beautifully and let it toast. This is, some people say this is an unnecessary step. I do believe that Babish, if any of you follow him, he once did a risotto experiment to see if this step was necessary, and it turned out not to be. But you know what? I just like doing it this way. I love the way the rice looks when it's coated with the butter and the shallots mix in with it. And I feel like this is a necessary step. Sorry, Babish. Love you, brother. So let that cook for about 30 to 40 seconds. Toast up nicely. And then we're going to come in with a 1/4 cup. And yes, I'm actually measuring this time because, got to do things differently. We're going to come in with a 1/4 cup of white wine. You can use any wine that you like. I happen to just be using this white cooking wine here. Yeah, believe it or not, I actually got carded at the store to buy this. There's no lie there. I got carded at the store to buy this wine. So stir that around and make sure that wine gets absorbed into the rice. We don't want any liquid at the bottom. Once it is fully absorbed, we're going to slowly start adding our heated chicken stock. And let me just raise the camera here to show you real quick. I've got another pot on the stove over here with some chicken stock that is on low heat. And that is crucial to making good risotto. Making sure that you've got chicken stock or vegetable stock if you want it to be vegan. If you're one of those vegan kind of people. I'm not, but, definitely don't want to use water. You should never cook rice with water, in my opinion. I mean, unless you're making Chinese food and you want just plain white rice in a rice cooker. Otherwise, always use some kind of a flavoring. Water doesn't really bring any flavor to the party. You want chicken stock, beef stock, vegetable stock, whatever you're going to do. Make your rice taste good, and, So once most of the wine has been absorbed, we are going to come into this with a couple of ladles of our heated chicken stock. I'm going to start off with 2 ladles. And we're just going to slowly stir this around until all of that chicken stock is absorbed. And once it's absorbed, we're going to come in 1 ladle at a time every 3 or 4 minutes or so until it's absorbed. And that is basically how risotto gets its deep, rich flavor and its texture. And why I laugh anytime I see a cooking show where people are making risotto in under 30 minutes, because I know that ain't happening, man. It's just not happening. This is a time-consuming dish, but your efforts will be rewarded at the end. So we'll check back in a little bit after we get a couple more ladles of stock in here and see where we're at. All right, so when you get to about here, you see there's very little liquid left at the bottom of the pan. That's when we're going to go ahead and add another ladleful of this broth. And now it's going to go a little bit quicker because we're only doing 1 ladleful at a time. That first ladle was a double ladle, so I guess that would make it 2 ladles. So that first 2 ladles was 2 ladles. But now that we're just doing one ladle at a time, it's going to go a lot quicker. The first one took about 4 or 5 minutes. These will probably go in 1.5 to 2 minute intervals till the liquid is completely absorbed, and you add the next ladle. And you're going to do this every time you get to where we just saw it, where there's hardly any liquid. You're going to do this for about the next 15 to 20 minutes until you can start to feel that the rice is getting to a little past the al dente firmness level. And then we will add our asparagus and another ladle of broth, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Meantime, I'm going to keep cooking, and through the magic of cinema, the next time you see me, or not see me, see this dish, we'll be at that point. So after about 20 minutes of adding one ladle at a time and stirring and watching the rice just absorb that beautiful broth, you can see it's starting to develop this really nice creamy texture. That's part of the reason we don't rinse the rice. That starch is helping that broth to thicken up and form this nice, beautiful sauce. So we're just about there. Now, if you're not going to add anything to your risotto, I would say at this point, maybe add 1 or 2 more ladles full before you add the cheese and the butter, which you'll see momentarily. But at this point, we're going to go ahead and add our little asparagus discs. And give them a nice little stir around, make sure everybody's well incorporated. You notice I didn't go with a lot of asparagus. You kind of do you, however much you want to use. I'm saving a couple of pieces of asparagus for my next dish, which you'll see shortly. But in the meantime, once you've got all that asparagus mixed through, it's time to add yet another ladle full. And this is going to help cook that asparagus. You saw how small those discs were. They're not going to take very long to cook. And we'll mix this around. And once this liquid is absorbed, we're going to come in with some butter, about a tablespoon of butter, and about 1/2 cup of freshly grated Parmesan cheese. So we'll see that in just a second. All right, so we are at the point where the liquid is not going to be absorbed much more. It's not going to evaporate much more unless I just let it sit here and overcook, and we don't want that because right now we are looking and smelling absolutely amazing. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add about a tablespoon of unsalted butter, like so. Go ahead and mix that in so that it doesn't melt all in one place. It's going to melt. It's going to be distributed throughout. And then the next part, oh my God, you're going to love it because everybody loves cheese, right? Everybody loves cheese. I think even vegans like cheese. Although they got like a vegan cheese that's just not normal. It's not human. It's not. No, it's not. Never mind. So now, I always do fresh grated Parmesan cheese. It's stuff that comes in a can you do not want to do. If it comes in a bowl or a bag, it's got emulsifiers in there. It's got extra stuff in there that you don't want. It's not going to melt the right way. It's not going to taste the right way. Just spend a little bit of extra money and get the fresh Parmesan and grate it yourself. So I've got a microplane here, and we're just going to grate about 1/2 cup of fresh Parmesan into this dish. So get that cheese in there beautifully. Like snow falling. I'd love to see that. All right, so we're probably there. We're probably at about 1/2 cup, maybe 3/4 cup at this point. It's going to be fine. So now we'll mix all that cheese in there. Make sure it gets melted beautifully. Look at that creamy texture. Oh, man. Now we are looking at risotto. You see the difference in the texture already. And the cheese isn't even fully melted already. I mean, that's just insane. That's insane. So now there's only one thing to do, and that is, you might notice we haven't seasoned it at all. I use unsalted butter. I use unsalted stock. Well, actually, homemade chicken stock is the best, but if you're not going to use homemade, use the low sodium stuff so that you can control how much salt you put into your dish. And I like to give it a nice, generous pinch of kosher salt. And then I'm a huge fan of pepper in my risotto, so we're going to go with several good heavy grinds of some coarse ground black pepper. Oh, it smells insane. It smells so, oh my God, it smells so good. All right, mix that around, make sure the seasonings get well distributed, well incorporated. And that's it. We can reduce our heat to low now to just let this stay warm while I'm going to make the main course of this dish. And that's the beauty about risotto. I mean, yeah, you ideally you want to serve this right away, but if you just let it stay warm, it will still have this beautiful, delicious, rich texture, amazing flavor. And if you want to finish it off with a little fresh chopped parsley to make it look pretty. And there you go. That is how you make asparagus risotto. You can do. So there you go. Of course, we got to give it a little taste. That beautiful. Oh, I mean, just look at the texture on that. That is just fantastic. Oh, okay. I can't wait any longer. I got to try some. You know I have to try some. And I hope you're going to try some. Now, you can't be here to try it with me, so follow the steps that I just showed you. If you don't like asparagus, you know, do sweet peas, do mushrooms, do like thinly shaved carrots, celery, whatever you want. Or don't put any vegetables. Just do the rice by itself with the cheese and the, oh, come on, look at that. Oh my God. Oh, I'm salivating. Okay, here we go. Ready? Don't eat boring food. Thanks for watching. Oh. All right, normally I don't do this, but I gotta go for a second bite. I just gotta make sure it's good. I gotta make sure. It's good. Look at that. Oh, look at it. It's just cheesy, delicious goodness. Hit the subscribe button, notification bell. You know when new videos are up. Thanks for your support. Thanks for watching. Love you guys. See you next time.